Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Globe Connect event. I would like to let you know that during this event, you'll be able to ask questions live. To submit a question, use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. This is sponsored by Vertex. The Globe is partnering with Vertex to host a series of 3 job fairs for those who have become unemployed during the COVID-19 pandemic. There'll be 1 job fair for full and part-time positions, 1 for early careers and fall internships, and the last will be geared toward equity in the workplace. To learn more about these job fairs, visit globe.com/jobs. Okay. We are pleased to be with you, and we hope that something said here today will be of some help to you. We hope to lower your anxiety level by sharing what we know about getting unemployment benefits that you're entitled to, and about launching a search for a new job. My name is Sean Murphy. I write a consumer advocacy column in the Boston Globe. It's called The Fine Print. In it, I champion the causes of consumers when they find themselves feeling mistreated by corporations, businesses, insurance companies, government agencies, and the like. You can reach me if you have an issue at Sean, SEAN.Murphy@globe.com. After the pandemic hit in March, I became involved in championing the folks who had lost their jobs but were having trouble accessing unemployment benefits, which led me to being asked to moderate this panel. With me today, we have 4 wonderful people who are volunteering their time and expertise. 2 are specialists in unemployment benefits, and 2 are specialists in how to find a new job. The unemployment specialists are Monica Hollis of Greater Boston Legal Services and Stephanie Herron Rice of the Justice Center of Southeast Massachusetts in Brockton. They are familiar with the nitty-gritty of unemployment benefits. On the employment side are Kira Kazatsky, Chief Operating Officer of JVS, which is one of the largest workforce development nonprofits in New England, and Jackie Glenn, founder and CEO of Glenn Diversity, Inclusion, and HR Solutions, with decades of experience in human resources. So welcome to all the viewers. Let's get started. I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give a brief overview, some of the points that they would really like to get home to those who are watching. And I'll begin with Monica. Monica?
Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you for championing the rights of unemployed workers. Really appreciate it. Unemployment insurance, or UI, is a joint federal-state program. It's overseen by the Federal Department of Labor and administered in Massachusetts by the Department of Unemployment Assistance, or DUA. As a result of the pandemic, many rules in the unemployment program have been loosened, and Congress enacted the CARES Act, which provides additional federal unemployment benefits and increases the amount of benefits. This increase means that anyone getting any amount of unemployment, even only $1 of unemployment, gets an extra $600 per week between March 29th and July 25th of 2020. The HEROES Act, which is now pending in the U.S. Senate, has a provision to extend that $600 weekly, and we certainly hope that happens. So if you are out of work because of a COVID-19 related reason, you should absolutely apply for UI benefits. You can do that either by going to the DUA website at mass.gov/unemployment, or by calling 877-626-6800. Again, that's 877-626-6800. So what are the COVID-19 related reasons for being able to get unemployment? They include your workplace has shut down, your hours have been reduced, you've been temporarily laid off, you're quarantined by government order or told to self-quarantine, you left work because you reasonably believed that you had a risk of exposure, and that includes your age over 65, or you have a pre-existing medical condition, and you had to leave work because the child or elder care facility you rely on is closed. So depending on your situation, there are two separate programs through which you can get unemployment. First, if you've earned $5,100 or more in the last 12 months and your employer took out taxes, so it's W-2 income, you apply for regular UI through the UI online system. That system requires that you speak either English or Spanish and have access to a desktop computer. You can also apply by telephone, again by calling that number 877-626-6800. The UI online system is very cumbersome, that's saying it diplomatically, and if you don't put in the precise information, for example, the name of your employer as it appears on your paycheck, the benefits could be delayed or even denied. What you get on regular UI is about half of your paycheck, capped at $823, plus a $25 dependency allowance, and these benefits last up to 26 weeks. Once you've used up, or in unemployment land exhausted, your regular benefits, you are now eligible for 13 weeks of federal extended benefits. So that's the first way, if you are a regular worker getting W-2 income. Now, under the CARES Act, there's a new federally funded program called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or PUA. And you get benefits under this program for the same COVID-related reasons I already mentioned, plus two more reasons. One, you were working at home and the head of household earner died due to the virus. And two, you had a job offer that was withdrawn due to the pandemic. So what's unique and really wonderful about the PUA program is that it recognizes for the first time that all workers, not just those in regular employment, deserve relief. And it has expanded UI eligibility to two categories of workers. The first is non-traditional workers. So that includes the self-employed, independent contractors with 1099 income, workers in the gig economy, part-time workers, including college or high school students who lost their part-time job because of the pandemic. It also includes AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, workers in religious settings. And in each instance, it's whether you've totally lost or just had your hours reduced. So that's the first category of PUA, or pandemic unemployment. The second is workers in traditional jobs who either didn't earn enough or work long enough to be eligible for unemployment, who already used up that 13 weeks of federal extended benefits, who were denied regular UI, or who were disqualified pre-COVID from getting UI as a result of a quit or firing from a prior job. All those folks can apply for PUA. The good news about PUA is that it's much easier application. It's mobile responsive, so you can do it on your phone or on a tablet. And it's available in English and Spanish. What you get on PUA, everyone gets a minimum amount of $267 a week. And then if you can show earnings that you had in calendar year 2019, you can increase that minimum amount all the way up to $823. The benefits last for up to 39 weeks. all benefits under the federal programs end on December 26th, and the benefits are retroactive to the date that you were first impacted by COVID-19, technically all the way back to February 2nd of 2020. And just to underscore, no matter what your source of income is, whether it's regular UI, the federal extension, or PUA, if you're getting even $1 of unemployment, you get that extra $600 per week between those dates of March 29th and July 25th. And I think I'll leave it for here for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Monica. When in doubt, apply. It's a very comprehensive program, both sides, and the watchword ought to be assume that you're eligible until told not. Now let's turn to Stephanie. Stephanie and Monica have both been on the front lines. They're both attorneys for legal services, and they both deal with people who in some cases bring fairly desperate stories to them. Stephanie,
right.
Could you give us a bit of an overview as well?
Sure, Sean. Hi, I'm Stephanie Heron-Rice. I work for the Justice Center, which is a subsidiary of South Coastal County's Legal Services in the South Shore. I'm based in Brockton, but we have offices in Fall River, in Hyannis, New Bedford, and others. So what I want to leave you with, if you take one thing out of what I say, is that there is a wonderful, wonderful resource for workers and beyond in Massachusetts called masslegalhelp.org. That's mass, M-A-S-S, legalhelp.org. There is a plethora of information without any legalese, without any difficult language to understand. I'm a native Spanish speaker, so keeping things simple is important, and I understand that. Mass Legal Help has a lot of information. Everything that Monica just recounted is up there and is accessible and available. There's videos in this area of the law and beyond. Their housing information is really good as well. And so I really encourage you to search masslegalhelp.org for information. Also on masslegalhelp.org is a button that you can press to find legal services in your area. There are programs like mine and like Monica's representing low-income individuals for free in civil legal matters. Unemployment is one of those, and we provide full representation, advice, and things within that range, services within that range. And you can find what legal services providers covers where you live at masslegalhelp.org. I also want to encourage you to lean on your public elected, state elected senators and representatives for assistance. They have a direct communication with unemployment. And so whereas often claimants have to wait on the phone forever to reach someone or not reach anybody at all because the system is so overloaded, oftentimes your senator or state rep can step in and connect you with constituent services and solve a lot of the log jams that we're seeing in the system in terms of identity proof, and other sort of resetting your password even, which sometimes can be problematic in this very clunky system. They can help, and they're there and ready, and they're wonderful. Senators often have bigger staff, and so we encourage you to contact your state senators. But if you have a relationship with a rep, go ahead and contact them. They can often help. There is help out there. It's just a matter of connecting you to it. So masslegalhelp.org, legal services is out there, and contact your state reps and senators.
Thank you, Stephanie. Great advice. Appreciate it. Now let's turn to Jackie Glenn. We know that this is a time of very high unemployment, particularly for communities of color. And Jackie, can you give us a little idea about how to go about finding work and what to emphasize, how to put one's best foot forward?
Thank you, Sean, and thank you for being here. A couple of things that comes to mind when I think about the time that we're in, as I described as the 4 Ps, Sean: the pandemic, the prejudice, the political setting, and now all the protests. And so when you look at that converging upon us and we're trying to find a job, it does get a little daunting. And so one of the first advice I would give is play on your strengths. So what do I mean when I say that? You might be in a position right now where you are you took a job as a greeter at a restaurant and that restaurant is closed. I actually met someone the other day who wanted to talk to me about that, but she went to school for law. And so I said to her, this is a good time to pull on all your writing skills you learn in law school and apply for a different job. So pull on your strength. And as I discussed with her, a lot of time, this is a time for you to not just take a look at the job description and take it every word that, oh, I don't have this one, so I won't apply, or don't have this one. You want to really look at the job description and ask yourself, could you do this job if you get some help? You know, every companies are open to put you to a training and orientation. And so if you're looking for a job, play on the skill set that you bring. What do I mean by that? Your quick study, you can work under pressure, your self-thought, you can teach yourself, things like that, your resilience, you're responsible, and use those. Now, I know for a lot of you that are listening, you might not have a resume. And when I ask you about getting a resume, you might say, you know, I've never had a resume. I always just fill out applications, Sean. This is a time that even if you've been in jobs that doesn't require you to have a resume, because everything is being done online, I really encourage you. A resume is really just your name, your address, your phone number. Another thing, get an email address if you don't have one. And I say that to everyone. I have a brother, and I said, get an email address. So it's your name, your address, your phone number, your email address. And if you worked somewhere and there's only one job to put on it, you can put your one job and all your other volunteer work that you've done where you've helped out your neighbors by pick. It doesn't have to be as cumbersome as you think about it. But I'm really encouraging everyone strongly, on top of just trying to fit, is to get a resume. And then on the resume, you start with a sentence: hardworking, attention to detail, a stickler, responsible, you know, quick study, looking for a job, willing to be trained at any time, and just put what you're willing to do. You will not be disappointed with how much people will call you for that job. And the other piece I have is that a lot of companies, being in technology, being in HR and recruiting, and I know, Kari, you will back me up, a lot of companies like to go into the mode of trying before you buy or testing before you invest. And now, because companies that are hiring are in a rush to get people on board, they will go to temp agency. Sign up with an agency. I always tell people, and I don't know if my fellow panelists will agree with me, but the minute you're out of a job, sign up with an agency, because what you can be doing while you're looking for a full-time job is temping. And a lot of time you'll get an agency job and it will turn into a full-time job. 85% of jobs that start out as a temp job turn into full-time job. So if you haven't signed up with an agency, sign up with the agency. And as I'd like to say, they're testing before they invest, and you're trying before you buy. So it's a two-way street. You get to check the job out, get to check the organization out, and you get to try before you buy. Another thing that I want to, I talked about agency. I have on my little cheat sheet to pursue your passion. This is a time, and I know there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs, and they'll say to me, Jackie, I don't have time to pursue my passion. But if you were a behind the scene person, but you're a person right now who love people and you're a people person, find a job out there that they're looking for help with people. There are a lot of camps that are operating right now that are looking for volunteers. They're looking for people, and there's something that you can do. And again, I wanted to bring to the front of it is that when you look at a job, do not rule yourself out because you don't check all the boxes. I just really have to continue to underscore that. I said this yesterday in a conversation that, you know, sometimes when women are looking at job, they might have 4 out of 5 of the qualification and they'll deem themselves not qualified. When our male counterpart might have 2 out of the 5 and they'll deem themselves qualified. I think all of us, if we at least have half of the qualification, should put the application or send our resume in and tell them how you can make up the deficit of not having the other qualification. That might be ability to be self-taught, quick study, ability to learn on your own, a good researcher, and you're just all around a smart person.
Okay, Jackie, let me interrupt you now and turn to Kara. We'll get back to you, Jackie.
Okay.
Kara, I want you to tell a little bit about JVS and what free services that are available. And also, please tell me what industries are currently hiring. Where are the jobs?
Sure. So thank you for, Sean, thank you for having this conversation. And thank you for including me in the conversation. As Sean said, I'm Kira Kazatsky. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at JVS, which is the largest workforce development agency on the East Coast. And essentially, we deal with or work with thousands of job seekers a year and have worked with job seekers through many different kinds of job markets. And this particular job market, although we're certainly in unprecedented times, in many ways is similar to other difficult job markets. And so I really, like Jackie, I think in threes, and I would like to leave you with 3 points. One is you will get a job. And this I say to everybody that comes in our doors, you will get a job under one set of circumstances, and that is if you don't give up looking for a job. There is a job out there, you will get it, but it will require that you have a strategy, that you stay flexible, and that you persist. The other piece that I wanted to leave you with is there is help out there for those people that are looking for work. JVS is just one organization that works with folks that are looking for employment, but certainly there are other workforce development organizations. And the other that I wanted to make sure to mention today is as soon as you're done following the instructions from Monica and Stephanie and apply for the unemployment benefits so that you have a way to pay your rent and feed your family, the very next thing that you should be doing is starting your job search. And I say that because an average job search in a good economy, when there's lots of job openings, takes 3 to 6 months. That's average during a good economy. During an economy like the one that we're encountering right now, it's likely going to take longer. So you don't have to worry that you're starting your job search too early. There is no such thing. It will take several months from start to finish. And so I would encourage you to look right now. Just very quickly, I did look and use some JVS software to look at where most of the job postings are right now. And where we're seeing it is in the shipping and delivery companies. Now, mind you, I'm just going to give you the areas right now. They're hiring at all kinds of levels. So when I say shipping, it's not just the warehouse, because business is booming for organizations like Amazon and UPS. They're hiring for everything from office help to, from office help to drivers. So the shipping and delivery companies, the online learning companies, hiring hundreds of thousands of teachers right now because of all of the transition to online learning, which means they need IT support, which means they need HR support, which means they need all kinds of support in those areas. Obviously, the grocery stores and the delivery companies for food, remote meeting and communication companies. So Zoom and Slack and Microsoft Teams, all hiring right now. The other things that we had looked at, human services and healthcare, potentially, particularly in Massachusetts, are still hiring. IT organizations are hiring, manufacturers are hiring, both sales, engineers, cleaners, maintenance, managers as a position. The four areas that we saw a lot of need is marketing, sales, operations, and retail. If you're looking for work in any of those, get going. There's jobs out there. Accounting and bookkeeping, and again, obviously retail and grocery. That's just a snapshot. And I guess what I'm trying to say is it can be very daunting right now. Turn off the TV, stop listening to the unemployment numbers. That's not going to help you feel good about looking for a job. There are jobs out there. And with strategy, flexibility, and determination, you are going to get one of those jobs, I guarantee it.
Kara, if I can chime in, I also think that if you are persistent and persuasive, there's a lot of job in the inside sales field. I consult with a lot of company, and you can do inside sales from anywhere, but a lot of sales job. If you want to start your career off in sales, there's a lot of opening in inside sales with a lot of the IT company and pharmaceutical company. So take a look at that also.
Thank you, Jackie. Monica, let me go back to you with a question. And it is, say my boss has called me and told me to come back to work, but I feel like I'm not ready to go. I'm not sure that it's entirely safe for me. I may be of a particular age group or have underlying conditions. Do I lose my unemployment if my boss calls me and I feel like it's not safe for me to go back?
It's a really great question, Sean, and I'm so glad you asked it because so many people are confronting that issue right now. So what Massachusetts has said, and this has, they're reflecting decades of law that has been established around the notion of what is suitable work. And suitable work has to be suitable for the individual worker. And now in a time of the pandemic, we know that no work, in fact, is suitable for people over the age of 65 and people who have pre-existing medical conditions. So at this point in time, those individuals should absolutely exercise their right to stay home and collect benefits. Now, that being said, I have to warn people that the department's regulations defining suitable work expired on June 14th. And unfortunately, we do not have a new guideline to that effect. However, given that this is so ingrained in Massachusetts law and that the governor's own mandatory safety guidelines talk about the need for people over in these categories to stay home, we can be fairly confident that that is an absolute reason to stay home and have the ability to continue to collect unemployment benefits.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to build on what Monica said and just say that it's important that you keep in contact with DUA and that you tell DUA that you were offered a position that was not suitable. So when you're doing your weekly certifications, you are asked where you offered employment this week. You must answer yes if your boss or your employer asks you back. That will then trigger what we call a suitability, Spanish first language, I'm telling you, suitability questionnaire that you answer, why it's not, why you have a reasonable fear of returning or why the job isn't suitable for you for some other reason. If you have a letter from a medical provider or something to that effect telling you not to go back to work, that will make the eligibility issues be resolved more quickly. So we encourage you to, if you're doing the online system, to upload those to your questionnaire.
Thank you, Stephanie. As long as you've got the floor, I'll also ask you to address the question of partial benefits. Let's say I'm on unemployment and I get an offer, but it's reduced hours. Do I lose my unemployment benefits for taking reduced hours?
So you can, so first of all, let me start with saying that you should always report your wages in the same way that you are when you're certifying weekly. You should always be reporting any wages that come in. unemployment will disregard up to 1/3 of your weekly benefits. They won't look at it. It won't have an effect on your paycheck, on your benefit receipt. Anything over 1/3 will be deducted from your benefits. But until you reach your weekly benefit amount, right? If you go over your weekly benefit amount, then you won't be able for, you will no longer be eligible for benefits. Anything under that will be deducted, and that is not counting the extra $600 from the feds.
Thank you, Stephanie. Jackie, represented communities, Black and of color, need to get back to work. What case do you make to employers concerning diversity in its rewards and benefits?
There's so many cases to be made, especially finding ourselves in this climate of race relation and racism, that companies are taking a good look at their demographics of the makeup of their organization, and they're asking themselves the question that they have asked but not have answered: what are we doing? How can we be more diverse? And I think this time, unlike other times, they're really making a real deliberate and intentional effort to seek out communities of applicants of color. And so I think that no time is better than current. And I like to say to Sean that, it's unfortunate that people have to be killed and lose their life before we wake up and see that, there's a lot of company out there that's not mirroring their demographics. But I would say to people of color that are listening, or all people, this is the time to push the envelope. This is the time to apply. And there's a lot of company and that I'm working with that are asking me, where are the people of color? So I would say, go out, apply. A lot of small companies, a lot of startups. Startups operate, Sean, because someone and they bring their friends and their friends, so everyone look the same. They're looking to move the needle there and to hire more people of color. So please apply for jobs, even if you think you might not check all the boxes.
Diversity breeds innovation.
And without innovation, we die. So, diversity breeds innovation. And if you want an innovation transform at a company, take a look at your leadership team and your demographics and go apply. And
thank you, Jackie.
Definitely we'll get a call back.
Kara,
I'm just trying to, sorry to interrupt.
Ahead,
I'm doing some work on the Q&As. So if you see me making some weird faces, I'm just typing on the Q&A. You can find, I'm seeing some questions pop up about who my legislators are. If those who don't know who their state rep and senators are, you can find that information at malegislature.gov. A quick Google search will also get you there. If you type, who is my legislator, where do I vote, that type of query will get you to your legislators. And you're looking for your state rep and senator.
Okay. Kira, would you tell us some of the services that JVS provides? They'll conduct workshops to learn how to use LinkedIn. They'll do resume enhancements. Tell us, and these are all free services.
All of the above. So I would think of JVS as a continuum of services. Workforce development is all we do. That is the core of our services. And we do everything from, you have all the skills that you need, but really you haven't been in the looking for a job business for a long time. So you need to meet with someone to go over your resume to help you put it together. You need strategy around your job search. I saw some questions, folks saying I've done the same thing for 22 years. I'm not really qualified to do anything else. I really want to encourage you to think differently.
Yeah.
It's not true that because you've done something for 22 years, you're not qualified to do anything else. And I can tell you, as someone who hires a lot of people, we're a large organization, I hire people to do things here that did something else for 22 years all the time. What I'm looking for are skills and some of the characteristics that Jackie had gone over around resilience and problem solving. I don't necessarily always need you to do exactly what I need you to do here. But back to JVS. JVS runs the One Stop Career Center in downtown Boston. And you can find us either at jvs-boston.org or Mass Hire Downtown Boston. And literally everything from help you with your resume, help you figure out LinkedIn, help you with cover letters, help you with your online applications, help you source a list of companies.
Help you with encouragement.
Help you with encouragement, because as I shared with Sean when we talked, the thing that I say to people is looking for a job is a terrifying experience for everybody. It feels terrible. You feel vulnerable. You feel lost. You feel dejected. You feel rejected. And all of that is actually happening, and it's true and it's legit, and it doesn't matter because you still need to look for a job. So as long as you know going in that for most people it's a really unpleasant experience, but almost everyone at the end of the day comes out with a job on the other side.
And you don't have to do it alone. You have
they
their
don't.
resources out there.
They absolutely do not. They
Let me-
absolutely do not.
let me
I
add
will
two
also
things,
say
Sarah.
just quickly that we do have some training programs that are free to job seekers in several areas, in healthcare, in hospitality, in banking. And so if folks are interested, they should go to the website, just Google jvs.org, and you will find those resources there.
Thank you, Karen. Monica, I'd like to touch on college and high school students who are eligible, are they not, for unemployment benefits? And also, would you touch on the question of whether you're eligible for unemployment when you've received a job offer, but the job offer was withdrawn due to the pandemic?
Oh, Monica, you're muted. There we go.
Got it. My apologies. So ordinarily, students, full-time students are not eligible because they have to be able and available for full-time work. However, under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, students who were full-time students and had part-time jobs, and I'm talking about both college and high school students who lost their part-time jobs because of COVID-19, are eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. For those students who are under 18, when they're filling out the application, they will get a message that they have to call into the department at the number I gave you before to verify their age, but they are eligible. Your second question, again, usually under regular UI, you have to prove that you've had a work history before applying for unemployment. But again, there's an exception now because of the pandemic, under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, that even if you didn't have a job history, if you've been offered a job and that job offer was withdrawn because of COVID-19, you are eligible to collect under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
Thank you, Monica. Staying with unemployment, Stephanie, I think we're both familiar with the scam, the network that has hit Massachusetts and a dozen other states and has wreaked havoc. I get a lot of emails from people who say, my benefits have been cut off and I've been asked to provide more identification. And there's a lot of frustration out there.
It really is.
Talk about this a little bit, please, Stephanie.
It's really unfortunate. Unemployment benefits are recognized as a property right, as an entitlement, and as such, they cannot be terminated without due process of law. These fraud investigations and extra verification steps that they are taking have resulted in lots of people getting their benefits put on hold, stopped without due process of law. It's really a problem, particularly when you add on to that problem the fact that we don't have really clear guidelines of what will suffice to prove your identity. For these folks, what I would say is, again, and I sound like a broken record, I know, but contact your state and your state senators and reps. They can often help clear these log jams, talk to unemployment, try to get proof of who you really are. We see a lot of these cases right now with people being asked to mail in their driver's license to then get a social security card to then mail to unemployment. It's really, really resulting in delays in benefits. And unfortunately, we don't have a really clear-cut answer right now. Monica, if you want to add to that, folks should really be keeping track of what's on hold and what's been asked of them, what they've submitted, and try to reach out to their state reps and senators, appeal these denials if it comes to that, and then be ready to defend at an appeal hearing, you know, that you really are who you say you are, and be prepared with proof of that.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, if I could, Sean.
Yes, please.
Absolutely right in everything she said. To add to the problems that people have, if they're on regular UI, they get a notice saying you have important correspondence waiting for you. The problem with the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program is that people get no notification that there is something in their inbox. And for identity purposes, that's a fact-finding notice that they will have to use in order to upload their identifying information and use the letter on the top of the fact-finding notice to do so. And if they don't respond, even though they haven't received an email or a text that it's sitting there, if they don't respond within a certain amount of time, that fact-finding notice disappears from their inbox. And then they are left with a denial, and sometimes worse than just a denial, a notice that they owe thousands of dollars of back benefits. So it's really making life very difficult for legitimate claimants who, as Stephanie said, have a constitutional right to property, and it should not be taken away from them without due process.
Can you
Thank
tell
you
we're
both.
lawyers, Sean?
Very good. Jackie, what exactly is social capital and relationship building and using networking, and how would you recommend people take advantage of that?
I think when I think of social capital and relationship building and all of the above, I believe that 95% of job seeker find their job because of referral. And if you look at some of the organizations around here, a lot of their new employees or the employees that work there, I did a research, came to them via an employee referral. When I worked for the technology company, we did an experiment where we looked to see where did we get all of our employees, and 85% of our employees came from employee referral. So when you think of social capital and networking, it really is still about, unfortunately, who you know. And so one of the things, living in this time of COVID-19, it's really hard to network. But you can't, someone said it earlier on, LinkedIn. I saw someone do it the other day. LinkedIn, use your social media platform, Facebook, even Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, I can't even say it because, because if you ask me how to use Instagram, I probably wouldn't know how, but I know it's out there and I'm on it. But someone went out on, someone who works for me, Relocate, and she was looking for a job, Sean. She went out on LinkedIn and said, my name is such and such, attaches my resume. I'm moving to the Orlando area and looking for a job. Excellent work, reference available. Please inbox me if you know of anything. She got 3 job offers and 17 interview later. At 17 interviews. And so use social media if you're out there and tell people, not having a job career. And I think everyone can agree with me. It's not very motivating. It actually makes you feel bad. And people sometimes are even embarrassed to say they lost their job. But trust me, you're in good company right now with COVID-19. And so don't be embarrassed. People want to help. So go out there and put it out there on social, network on social media, send out a group text, ask for help on your resume, and put it out on social media. Because, Sean, I would say go network and go to functions, but we're not having any of those gatherings, so we have to do it on social media.
Thank you, Jackie. Carrie, you told me yesterday about job searching as a job, and that there are some good habits that you can undertake to treat it like a job, like getting to your work area every Monday through Friday at the same time.
Mhm.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit, Kara?
Yeah, well, so what I shared with Sean yesterday is looking for a job is a numbers game. So when I say to you that you will find a job, I'm confident of it. I say that with the caveat that you continue to look on a regular basis. And so even the story that Jackie just told where a colleague or someone she knows put herself out there in the social media, social media universe and said, I'm looking for a job. What she did by doing that was amplify the number of people that
Yes.
were her resume. And that's why I can tell you that I know there's a job out there for you. It's just a question of how to get people to see you. And the more people that see you, the better the chances that you're going to get a job until those two things actually come into one moment when you get that job offer. And the best way to do that, that I have seen over, tens of thousands of job seekers that I have known are people that treat the job search like a job. So if you say to yourself, Monday through Friday until I'm employed again, Monday through Friday, 8 to 1, I am at my desk and I am doing these 3 things to get my resume into the hands of as many people as possible. I'm on, webinars with JVS, learning how to use LinkedIn, learning how to source company names, learning how to get more social capital behind me every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday until I have a job. My confidence grows in your ability to get that job. But
And keep a log too, you told me.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again, sorry.
And keep a log of everybody you've
That's
spoken
right.
with.
And so the reason that I say that is that lots of things are going to be happening around you. And what I've seen happen a lot is you keep looking, you keep looking, you keep looking, and all of a sudden you get this call or an email from someone from 6 weeks ago that you can't even remember because you've already applied to 100 other things. Unless you keep a log of everywhere that you applied, you're not going to be able to remember what it is that you applied for. And you definitely don't want to get this opportunity and not remember who this company, what this company is and what you applied for. The log
Stay
is
organized.
keeping yourself sane through this process.
Yeah.
Monica?
Just wanted to jump in on that point. In unemployment land, usually it's also very important to keep a work search log as an indicia of eligibility. Right now, those rules have been relaxed because work wasn't as available, but at some point those rules will come back into play. So from that perspective as well, it's also important to keep that work search log.
And it's pretty simple. I mean, I've seen people just take a desk calendar and in that calendar, they literally write the company information of every job, and that way you can refer back to whatever that you need. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be something that's useful for you.
And to add to your car, people keeping a log, I'm a firm believer in the squeaky wheel. And when I was in recruitment, the people that got my attention was the people who call me and check on Mrs. Glenn. I applied for a job as a food service supervisor and I didn't hear back from you and I'm checking. So if you keep a log, you could go back and say, you know what, I applied here. Let me just ping them again and say, just want to let you know I'm still available. I would love to be part of your team. Here is what I'd bring to the team. I'd make a great addition, and just really stay on people. Because if you think about a recruiter, they're getting all of these. And if you're calling or texting or sending them an email to remind them that you still are interested, they're going to be like, oh my God, that Jackie Glenn, she is a piece of work. Let me just pull her resume and see what she has to offer since she's so persistent.
That's a great point.
Persistency is important. And the only way you're going to stay persistent if you keep a log.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Jackie.
And can I just add one more thing, Sean?
Sure.
Because I love what Jackie said earlier about please put all embarrassment or any feelings of shame aside. Honestly, this is not your fault. And whether it's COVID related or not COVID related, whether you lost your job because you got fired, you still need to work. And so you can put all of that aside with the understanding that everybody makes mistakes. We've all had a job full disclosure, I've been fired from a job. It's, life goes on.
Mhm.
Your best, your best self forward and keep it moving. All of that shame isn't helping.
Right.
It's just keeping you stuck where you are. The truth is there's a job that actually needs you. And that's the framework from which you need to be moving forward. That job is
Let
definitely.
me jump in and ask Stephanie, there's no shame in applying for unemployment benefits either.
Right.
Sorry, I'm
In
still
fact, that's an
chatting with
entitlement.
people. There is no shame in applying for unemployment benefits. And I get really, really frustrated when I hear this, like, this entitlement type talk, right? Thinking about it in a negative way. These people want something that's free. No, we all pay into the unemployment fund with our taxes, with our employer's taxes. And these are unprecedented times that have left several people without jobs. And these people, everybody that calls my office that I assist are people who are ready to work, want to bring food to the table, want to feed their families, want to pay rent, and just are not able for circumstances beyond their control. This is beyond our control. These are unprecedented times, and there really, really is no shame associated with applying for unemployment benefits.
Monica, to get to a very narrow question, there's some treatment of those who work for religious or nonprofit organizations. Are they treated differently in terms of unemployment than those in the strict private sector?
So first of all, anybody working for a nonprofit is eligible the same way that somebody working for a for-profit. The only difference is the impact on the nonprofit employer, whether they have chosen to be a contributory employer and pay into the unemployment system, or be a reimbursable employer and pay only when there's a claim. With respect to religious workers, clergy and people who work for a religious organization, and that means everyone, including the janitor who's cleaning the church, for example, under Massachusetts state law, unfortunately, those folks are ineligible for unemployment, but they are among the category of workers who are eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. However, life is always complicated. If they are filling out their PUA application and they have had earnings of more than $5,100 of W-2 earnings, that's the indicia that they are eligible for regular UI. So they can't move forward with their application. They then have to go to regular UI. Many folks in that situation don't do it because they know they've never, ever been eligible under regular UI. But what they need to do is go to regular UI, get a denial, go back to the PUA application, indicate they've been denied, and then at that point, their application will move forward. The alternate way to do that, and the quicker way to do that, is what Stephanie has been suggesting. And that is call your state senator and have them help you get that claim through more quickly. When you are finally approved for the pandemic unemployment assistance, your benefits will be retroactive to when you were first impacted by PUA. And I can't emphasize it enough. If you were unemployed in that period between March 29th and July 25th, you get that extra $600 weekly.
Stephanie,
We have a question in the chat, Sean, that is very topical, and I think it's worth addressing. So when I say uploading documents onto unemployment, right, there's two ways that you can get notifications from unemployment. You can sign up for electronic notifications if you have an email address, and you can sign up for US mail notifications. If you speak a language other than English, si hablas español o cualquier otro idioma, you need to do US mail, because that will come in your native language, whereas the online is only in English, okay? If you sign up for online notifications, electronic notifications, you get an option to upload documents directly into the system. If you sign up for US mail notification, you don't have that option. So for example, I have James in the chat asking me, I don't get that option. Not everybody does. If you are signed up for electronic notifications, you get it. US mail, you do not get it, and you have to physically mail it to the UA or call your state senator for help.
It sounds to me like, as Jackie said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and that this bureaucracy involving unemployment insurance is quite complicated and prone to mistakes,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
one really needs not only technical assistance, which legal services can provide, but also a little political assistance.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. And this is happening, you know, in a moment where libraries are closed, right? They're beginning to start opening only for browsing. And a lot of our clients who are low income, that's how they access the internet. That's their way into this virtual reality that we're all living. And where you cut off that access and you make, for example, in regular UI, the Spanish application is mobile friendly. The English is only in a computer. So if you don't have a computer, you have to apply over the phone. It's a very complicated system. It's a broken system before the pandemic that got overloaded with all of these thousands and thousands of applications, and just all of the problems became amplified. But these problems are problems that Monica has been fighting for the longest time, and very successfully, I might add. I'm very, very proud to be working alongside her. Because they are problems that have been in existence for a long time and that we've been fighting for a long time. So if you do need assistance, again, I'm going to say it one more time, masslegalhelp.org is a great resource. Calling your state senators is a great, great way to fix, even if you think something is silly, something that should be, you know, an IT call instead of your state senator. They have staff that are dedicating to this. This is where the need is, right? And you are the people that they serve. So call them. There's no shame in doing that.
It's possible also, Stephanie, that you might need to call twice or 3 times
Absolutely.
in order to finally get heard.
Absolutely. I will say that the senators, the staff of the state senators, Monica, and I think you would agree, they've been very receptive, very responsive, great at helping people out. They know that there's a need out there and they're happy to fill that. The folks on the DOA side for constituent services are great also. And they have that connection to the state senators. And so that's why we encourage people to call. Also on masslegalhelp.org, there's a square to the right of your screen that will say find legal aid. And that's where you find people like Monica and me that provide free legal representation in civil legal issues across the state.
Okay. Kara, would you like to wrap us up here with some final thoughts about finding a job in this time of pandemic?
Yep, absolutely. I guess my wrap up would be just to reiterate what I'm saying, what I said earlier, which is there's a lot of anxiety out there about a lot of things. I think Jackie had mentioned, Jackie had mentioned many of the things that are going on. On top of that, to be unemployed is an incredibly challenging, scenario that lots of folks find themselves in. What I want folks to know is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. There is help out there. There's legal help that folks just talked about. There's also help out there around your job search. Don't sit home alone, filling your head with worry. As I said, turn off the TV, continue to read the Boston Globe, but if you see the Boston Globe talking about very high unemployment rate, it's not that it's not accurate, but it's not a good statistic for the job seeker, because you are in a different statistic. You're in a statistic of people looking for very specific things. And
I think what you said yesterday is when you're looking for a job, do it sooner, longer, and harder.
That's right. Sooner, longer, and harder.
And you also had a suggestion about making a little list of your transferable skills, including digital literacy.
That's right. Well, the thing that you and I talked about was that right now, you may not be able to get your dream job tomorrow, but you have skills that companies need right now. You absolutely do. And you want to think about, of the things, I gave an example of, somebody that say it was running a dining room in a hotel, and thinking like, well, hospitality right now is a really tough gig. That's true. But you know what? You had to organize people, you had to manage people, you had to problem solve, you had to be fast on your feet. Those are things that every organization is looking for. You're just looking to help them understand how you can apply those same skills to their needs. And you can absolutely do that. I've changed my career 3 times by really helping folks understand how a set of skills that I used as a bartender really applied to marketing, and how skills that I used as a teacher very much apply to management. Just think about your skills more broadly than just the 1 or 2 industries or positions even that you have used them in. We need, and every company needs, hardworking, smart people. Help them see the hardworking, smart person in you.
Thank you, Kara. And I think we'll wrap up here now. I want to thank you, Kara, Stephanie, Monica, and Jackie, Vertex for sponsoring this, and the Boston Globe for organizing it. I hope we injected a little bit of optimism in these troubling times in terms of accessing unemployment benefits and searching for a new job.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much.
Sean.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.